welcome back to my channel. Now I have some exciting news to share, and I honestly didn't think that I'd be sharing this news so soon in my journey, let alone being in front of this camera, just saying it out loud. But the news is that in the month of January alone, last month meaning, I made over $10,000 in my business. So it was my first time ever achieving a milestone like this, to be able to make a 10K month. Like, I feel like 10K months is what you always see on the internet, like, you know, this person made 10K, that person made 10K, and I've always been someone who just like looked at that and was like, how is that even possible? And to have that become my reality has just been, I'm speechless. Now, I really debated whether or not I wanted to share this type of information out on YouTube, let alone just the internet in general, just because I know that a lot of people think that sharing income is really tacky, and I also know that when you share your income like that, and especially when you do YouTube, there's tons of haters that end up infiltrating through the comment section, and I wasn't sure if I was emotionally ready for hate comments, if there were any. I mean, it happens, but I realized that there's a lot of people, or there's a handful of you who have followed me from the very beginning, meaning like from the very first video that I posted back in like July of last year. And throughout this whole YouTube journey, or just my business journey, I feel like I've been quite candid when it comes to income. And so I thought that I would share this piece of my journey with you guys because it's a huge milestone for me. And also throughout this whole journey, I've shared with you guys the fact that my old corporate job that I worked at was paying me $65K, and I said goodbye to that. And then eventually I also became a barista part-time to support this business while I was building it. And let's be honest, I'm still building it. And I was getting paid minimum wage to do that. Like, there's videos here and videos here of me talking really candidly about my journey. So that's why in this video, I'm really going to walk you through my business journey from top to bottom, to, you know, when I quit my job to where I am now, making a 10K month. I launched my website announcing my business to the public in January. So I launched it on January 6th, 2019. Today's date is, whoa, it's February 6th, 2019. So it's been a month, exactly 30 days since I launched my business to the public. And because I made this 10K month, I don't want people to think, oh my gosh, like in your first month of starting a business, you made this money. No, I actually started this business back in August. I incorporated this business in January though. So like, I wasn't really a legitimate business up until last month in January. But regardless, in this video, if you're interested, I'm going to walk you through from top to bottom just what I've been through these last 6 months, how I got here, what it was like, and the lessons that I've learned. I haven't necessarily scripted this video, so I'm not sure what I'm going to end up saying, but if you're down for it, then keep on watching. Alright, so let's just flash back and go all the way back to May 2018. And I have all of like the receipts on my phone. This is kind of like my time capsule of how I timestamp when everything has happened. But May 11th, 2018, on a Friday at around 10:30 a.m. was when I resigned from my corporate job. I gave 3 weeks notice, and my last day at that job would be June 1st, 2018. So that was kind of the timeline that I was working with, and at the time I was petrified. It was one of the hardest decisions of my life, but also, you know, in hindsight now, I felt like it was one of the best decisions of my life. It was truly the time where I felt responsible for my life, and I felt like, you know, by leaving that job, I was really declaring to the world that I matter, and that, you know, I don't have to choose to be in these situations that I don't like, and I always have the option to leave. And because of that moment, it has been so transformational for me, because it was the first time that I've ever left something like that. And I feel like now, because of that experience, I now know the value of letting go, the value of making a decision, the value of choosing your destiny and choosing your fate. You know, those really big decisions that we have to make end up being the most important decisions that we have to make. And when you don't like something, you can always change, you can always move, you can always, you know, there's always options out there. And that experience has taught me that lesson. I think that people who are in shitty situations, they have a tendency to have tunnel vision, and they feel like there are no options out there. They feel stuck, they feel trapped. And I used to feel that way too for a whole year. I felt that way at that job. I couldn't see a way out, and now that I'm on the other side, I realized that we always have a choice. We always have the power to say no, to say yes. You know, you can ultimately control your life just by making those hard decisions, and just by having faith in the unknown and being okay with the unknown. So that's one major lesson that I've learned thus far throughout my journey. The second thing that I've learned throughout my journey, shortly after leaving my job, the first month was fun. I did some traveling, I slept in, I hung around. It was the summertime, so I really took advantage of the month of June. It was really fun. And then near the month of July, near the end, that's when I decided to start this YouTube channel. Now, I've said this a lot of times within my channel, but starting a YouTube channel was something that I've always wanted to do since I was younger, since I was in high school. But fear always prevented me from doing it. And now that I had all this time, and then because I also realized the value of time, especially when I was working a 9-to-5, I realized like, oh my goodness, if I don't do this now, then I might not ever be able to do it later. So that's kind of what gave me the urgency to start this channel. So near the end of July, I started a YouTube channel, and I posted my first video here, which made a lot of people nauseous because I didn't know how to do the setup, and I told myself done is better than perfect, and it's okay if I'm just holding the camera like this. People were not happy, but it's okay. I have since improved, and that's the thing. Like, if you're watching this and you want to start a channel, just start. Like, look at my first few videos, look at the videos I made 2 weeks ago. You're always gonna constantly improve. I'm pretty sure a year from now, when I look back at this video, I'm gonna be like, oh, Vanessa, no, that's not good. Like, you shouldn't have done that. But just start. I think that's another lesson that I've learned. But anyways, when I was starting YouTube, it was hard, especially when I had no big vision yet for it. I didn't really know where it was gonna take me, but I just knew that it was something that I wanted to do. And what was really awkward was when people asked me, so are you making money on this? Like, what are you doing with your life? So on and so forth. The second thing too, that ended up happening since starting the YouTube channel is my parents got worried. They got nervous. It's like, what are you doing? And so that's why they gave me an ultimatum. It's you either go back to a 9-to-5 or you at least do something so that you don't have to rely on us to like buy coffee or something. Like, I don't care what you do. I need to make sure that you have your own stream of income. And I was like, okay. So I made the decision to work at a coffee shop. I worked as a part-time barista. And when I first started out, I worked graveyard shifts. I ended up complaining and saying that I didn't want to work graveyard shifts because, again, I realized the power of saying no, but as the new girl, they obviously put me through graveyard. And what graveyard is when you work from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. So while doing this YouTube channel, or just figuring out this whole YouTube thing and what I was gonna do with it, and also working as a barista, working minimum wage, it was a lot of pressure. And it wasn't until near August where I posted this video about why I quit my job when things really started to change for me. At that point, I was actually super nervous to post it. I was nervous that, you know, my old managers would get upset, it would ruin the chances of me getting a job ever again, and I was actually also worried that I would somehow get sued or something for defamation or whatever, even though I feel like this whole time I've been quite respectful and I haven't really like thrown out names or anything. But anyways, a day after that video was uploaded, I ended up getting a message on Facebook from this stranger who I've never met before, and she asked me if I had coaching services and if I had a website and if I had my rates. And at that point, I didn't know what to say. I've never done coaching before. It was as if like coaching found me. Through YouTube. And so that's why the title of this video, I owe a lot of my success to social media, because had I not put myself out there on the internet, I would not have made 10K in a month. I guarantee you that, and I'm gonna talk about that later. But that video landed me my first client, and I worked with her for free. At that point, I didn't know what I could coach on, but she was looking to also leave her 9-to-5, and I felt like I could help her with that because I've done it myself, and I felt like the way that I left my corporate job, I did it decently, gracefully, so I wanted to help her with that. And because I am a person of integrity, I didn't charge her, I just did it for free, and I said, hey, you know what, like in exchange for me trying to help you through this transition in your life, would you mind giving me feedback and potentially a testimonial if you end up happy with the results that you want? And she agreed, and then the rest was history. We ended up working together, and funny enough, I ended up solving her problem of being afraid to quit her job within the first 2 sessions, and she ended up wanting to start a business through the questions that I was asking her, and she just kind of reflected a lot and she just realized that she wanted to start a business. And so I had 2 decisions to make. It was either I tell her, hey, you know what, I can't help you anymore because I don't know how to start a business, or I could use my existing skills of what I know in business and help her out. And so that's what I did. I said yes, and I said, you know what, let's do it. I'm doing this for free anyways. You have nothing to lose, I have nothing to lose, so let's try it out. And by saying yes to something that I wasn't sure if I had skills in was also one of the best decisions that I've ever made. And the reason why I say this is because I realize that we don't notice our skills and our talents until we talk to someone who's different from us, who doesn't have the same skills and who doesn't have the same talents. All of us are different. For instance, I read a lot of business books. I went to business school, I worked corporate. I naturally have a huge interest in marketing, specifically online marketing now. And to talk to someone who has very little business experience was an eye-opener for me. I was like, oh my gosh, like you don't know how to create funnels, or you didn't know how to do an opt-in, or you don't know about social media. I thought everyone knew this. Right? It's like as if you were a fitness person and you think that everyone knows their macros, and you think that everyone knows how to count calories, and you think that everyone knows how to do certain exercises the right way, until you meet an average Joe and they don't. Everyone has different talents and different skills, and this is another lesson that I've learned, is that you are talented. You have something, everyone has something in them that makes them different. These are called strengths. And what I always say to my current clients now is we always want to look at what your natural strengths are. What do you already have that's different from other people? And how can you capitalize on this strength and actually turn it into a business? Position yourself as potentially an expert. Because there's a lot of people out there that are a couple steps behind you that just need your help. And so that was a huge pivotal moment for me. And since helping her with her business, we ended up launching her business. She's at a point where she has her own clients. And I realized like, wow, I'm actually good at this. And so then I took on more free clients. I worked with other people for free, with a little beta test program just to see what I could do for them. And I also ended up giving people results as well. But throughout that phase in my journey, I still wasn't sure what the results would actually be for my business. So for instance, like while I was working with clients for free and working at a coffee shop making minimum wage, I wasn't making any money on my actual business. And I didn't know what would end up happening months later. I didn't know that I would be at this place. This place that I'm at now, I wished for, I dreamed for. And I'm actually gonna show a clip that I recorded back in September when I was at a really low point and when I was just wanted to document that vulnerable moment in hopes that one day I could show it, in hopes that one day I'd be in a better place, which I think I am at now. So I'm gonna show up this clip to show you the reality of what it was like starting my business, especially when times were rough.
Okay, so I don't know if I'll ever post this video, but something I promised myself is to always document my journey, because ever since leaving my job, I just truly felt like it was a shot at like a new life. I don't know, a shot at like a new identity or whatever. And I'm so grateful and happy that I was able to find the courage and the strength to leave a situation that was totally not serving me, and to get over my fears and ego and to just take the leap. And I'm really proud of myself for doing it, and I'll always be proud of myself for doing it. But at the same time, it can sometimes be really challenging, because when you have a vision and when you have a dream, or you have something that you desperately want to achieve in your life that might not be conventional, that might be untraditional, there's going to be a lot of challenges that you're going to face. And that's why I wanted to record this video, to remind myself in the future, hopefully when I'm successful or whatever, or when I reach those goals that I started at this stage. But also, if I end up posting this at some point and you're watching this and you have a dream and you can see it so clearly in your head, but no one else can, including your family, including your closest friends, including just strangers who may be judging you or whatever for pursuing something that they can't see right now, then I want to remind you that you're not alone, and hopefully I'll be in a lot better place when this video, if this video ever sees the light in public.
So as you can see from that video clip, I've had some rough times. That's only one clip of probably many that I've documented of me just bawling my eyes out because I was so scared and so frustrated while building this business. So what I have to say to you, if you've gotten this far watching this video and you are at a place where you're thinking of starting something new, document your journey. At that time when I filmed that video, I had no idea whether or not I would ever show it to anyone, and I told myself I'll show it to people when I've reached a level of success that I'm happy with. And to be at this place right now, really still in the beginning of my journey to share that video, I'm really glad that I documented it because it really makes me feel so much more grateful and so much more proud of myself of what I've built so far. But anyways, speaking of struggles, I also remember a pivotal moment for me while I was still working graveyard at the coffee shop that I was working at. Again, the shifts were 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. and one of my duties was to pick up cigarette butts off the floor and wrap pastries. That was kind of the main thing that you did if you worked graveyard, and also cleaning the coffee shop. And I remember, like, when you pick up the cigarette butts, like, you have to sweep it into the dustpan. But for some reason for me, I guess I suck at doing stuff like that, so it wasn't working. And what I ended up doing was I literally ended up using my fingers to pick up all the cigarette butts off the floor because I just couldn't get the dustpan to, like, get the cigarette butts into the whatever. And I remember as I was picking up these cigarette butts with my bare fingers, I remember just looking up at the sky and asking myself, like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Like, I'm someone who has graduated from a top business school. I graduated top female of my graduating class. I was president of my undergraduate society. And now I'm working minimum wage as a barista, picking up cigarette butts with my bare hands. I cried, I teared up, and I was just like, what did I do to myself? Like, did I really self-sabotage my entire life? And it was depressing. But at the same time, I remember also looking up at the sky and I was just like, I can't fail. Like, this has to happen, essentially is what I told myself. Like, failure is not an option. I don't care if it takes 100 videos that I need to post on YouTube. I don't care if it means working for free with people for a while or working at a coffee shop for a year plus. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make my coaching business happen. I'm going to make my YouTube channel happen. I'm gonna make my personal brand happen. There's no option for failure, because I know at the end of the day, the only way that you fail is if you give up. And I told myself, if I never give up, then I'll never fail. And since then, I've been a stubborn biatch in terms of managing my business. I've let go some of relationships and I've tarnished some relationships. But that's because I'm protecting my dream. And I was very ruthless in who I let into my circle. If you don't believe in me, then get the fuck out. That was basically my attitude, and it still is my attitude. And I hope this doesn't come across as cocky or whatever, but when you have an unwavering belief in yourself, even though you don't know when the six-figure mark is gonna happen, you don't know when the 10K mark is gonna happen, you don't know when you're gonna be able to make enough money to buy yourself an apartment, you don't know when you're gonna hit certain milestones, as long as you just have that faith that one day it'll come, that's all you need. Or at least that's all I needed. I just had that unwavering faith that the things that I want in my life are gonna come. I just cannot give up, and every day I need to chip away at it, and every day I need to take actions that are gonna lead towards that time to come to me when it's ready. So that's all the backstory. Now you're probably wondering, okay Vanessa, great, we know the backstory now, we know that you've ate shit for a while, and we know that it's not an overnight success and you've been at this for quite some time. So how exactly did you get from there to here? How did you make that 10K month? Now I'm gonna wrap up some key lessons that I've learned just in bullet point format, so this video doesn't go on too long because I'm just checking the monitor and it seems like it's going on for a while. But the first thing is social media. Social media built my business. I see a lot of people who are on social media and they just want 100,000 followers, or they want all these vanity metrics. That's great. But I think that if you're watching this video and you want to make it big on social, really ask yourself, what are you doing with your handle? What are you doing with that platform? Are you just doing it as a hobby, which that is totally fine? Or are you going to monetize that audience or try to build know, like, trust with that audience in order to get them to take action on something? You know, that was the approach that I took with my social media eventually, because as I was growing on YouTube, and again, keep in mind that I still had less than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I didn't hit the 1,000 mark until maybe December, so like couple months ago. But even with a very small following, I was still able to get clients. I was still able to get people messaging me about working with me. And at that point, I didn't even have a website yet. So don't stress so much about the number that you have on social. Focus more on creating really great content, educational content, content that people are actually searching for and find value in, and also focus on building a community. That's when I created my Facebook group, the Fearless Boss Network. I created that group back in October 2018. I think it was October. And that's where I really cultivated those relationships. And eventually more clients started wanting to work with me because they knew who I was through social media. And not once have I ever solicited anyone to work with me. I've never been the person to message someone and say, hey, pay me money and work for me. I have a coaching business. I've just let people come to me. And the moral of the story, what I'm trying to say here is social media has been my #1 lead generator. And all I'm doing is sharing my personality online. I'm sharing my knowledge. I'm not cheaping out on knowledge. I have this video that went viral. And I'm pretty sure it went viral not only because I've been very consistent in posting on YouTube, I'm doing 2 videos a week now, but also because the content was actually very unique. It's actually like quality content. If you look at the comment section, yeah, there's some haters, but majority of people are like, holy, this is a very unique piece of content. Not a lot of people are sharing these tips. And so that's kind of how I grew so fast on social, was providing people with actual valuable content. And as a result, I attracted clients into my business. That's how I was able to make over 10K last month. And again, keep in mind before I hop on to the next bullet point of what contributed to this success is the fact that I still didn't have a website up until last month. And so I had been growing and growing and cultivating and never asking for a sale up until January, where I posted about my website and I was like, hey guys, this is what I've been working on. Here's me, here's what I've been up to, and here's what I can offer. And because for the past 5 to 6 months, I was just building and building and building, the moment that I launched something, it was successful. I didn't start off my YouTube being like, hey guys, I'm a coach, work with me. I never asked for a sale. I just kept giving value, kept giving free content, and I still give free content. And so when I finally offered something or asked for something in return, that's when the clients started really coming in, because I had cultivated those relationships for so long. It's like what Gary Vee says, it's the jab, 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 right hook. You jab, jab, jab all the free content, and the moment that you right hook something and the moment that you actually say, hey guys, my business is open, people are receptive to it because it's not like every day that you ask for a sale. So I definitely wanted to add that point before I move on to the second point. The second pivotal thing that happened in my business that really accelerated my growth was hiring a business mentor. The moment that I hired a business mentor, I felt like I had way more structure, I had way more accountability, I had way more guidance in doing what I was doing. And it was also so nice to have a second perspective of my business, because oftentimes when you're doing it alone, you feel very lonely and you don't have a boss, you don't have a team, no one's there to actually tell you, hey, good job, or hey, maybe you should tweak this. So having that business mentor was crucial to fast tracking the success of my business. Of course, if you hire a business mentor or a business coach, that's not a band-aid solution for success. All a business mentor or a business coach is guiding you in the right direction, opening those doors for you, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has to walk through them. Then the third major thing that happened in my business that I felt really accelerated my growth was when I went to a coffee chat with another, I would say he's a business mentor of mine. I really look up to him. His name is Wilson. I'll link his channel right here. But when I was talking to him, I told him what my revenue goals were for this year. And I said, hey, I want to replace my corporate income from last year. I want to make at least $65K in my business in 2019. And I, at first, was worried. I thought that he would say something like, Vanessa, that's a little bit too aggressive for someone who's just starting a business. But instead, what he said was, Vanessa, that's way too low. Dream bigger. You gotta go bigger. Aim for 100K next year. And I was like, what? What do you mean? I was literally shook that he even said that. And what I learned from that conversation is that if you have 10x goals, then you're gonna do 10x action to achieve those goals. If I had just told myself, okay, I'm happy with 65K this year, then I wouldn't make the action, or I wouldn't take the massive action that I needed to take in order to hit a 10K month. If I had just put my ceiling right here, I would have just like stayed stuck. But instead, what Wilson challenged me on was actually putting the ceiling up here so that I can actually reach higher. And so that's kind of what I've learned from him. And honestly, if he never said that, I don't think I would have made 10K last month. And I don't think I would have, you know, motivated myself to take more action and to challenge myself to get to that 100K mark. And so those were the main 3 things that I've done within my business that I think has made me successful, even though my version of success I think is like, I think I'll achieve it later, but this is a great start. This is more than a great start for me. And so that's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys. I really hope that by the end of this video, everything makes sense, because again, I didn't script anything and it's all been done candidly. But yeah, next time, in the next video, what I actually want to teach you guys, especially for those who are interested in social media, what I'm going to share with you guys is exactly the different ways that you can make money on social media, other than the conventional ways like brand partnerships, AdSense revenue. I really want to give you guys more knowledge in terms of how you can actually make your social media into something that benefits your business, the same way that it's done for mine. So make sure you hit the notification bell and the subscribe button to stay informed on when that drops. Anyways guys, from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful for you following my journey up until this point. Hopefully we have more milestones to celebrate in the future. And again, I hope you guys, or not again, as always, I hope you guys have a great day, hope you guys have a great week, and I hope you guys have a great life, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys. So really quickly, these are all the goals that I have that I put up on my wall when I was first starting my journey. So this one's done, this one's done, this one's done. This one was probably one of the most happiest times of my life when this happened. This one I thought would never happen. This one I definitely thought would never happen so soon. And then this one is the most recent one that just happened, and it's ironic that I actually achieved the 10K month before I achieved the 10K follower mark. And so a big lesson there is that, you know, it's not always about the vanity metrics, and it's possible to make this type of money without this. This was just a byproduct of everything that has been going on. But anyways, hopefully one day I'll be able to achieve these things. One day, hopefully. But I know in my heart that that day will come. I just have to be patient.